I gave myself 35 days to prep for my first ever art market with nothing ready. Not a single product, not even a supply list. Why? Because I'm tired of waiting for the right time to chase my dreams. So this is the story of how I invested from scratch with $0 invested, a dream, and pure anxiety. This all started because I grew up watching people who passionately made items they loved, from art to manga to cross stitch to crochet, and they sold it to other people who wanted what they made. Not only did I find myself consistently watching this kind of content, it also inspired me to pick up those same crafts. Now that I'm an adult, I realized I can do the same thing that my heroes growing up did. I can create items that give someone else joy. I am way too scared to do website making and building though. If only there was a way I could sell something in person and not have to figure out shipping and making a website. That's literally how I remember that an art market was a thing. I don't live in the middle of nowhere. I live in Florida. And Florida has art markets. In fact, it has a butt ton. In fact, it has a lot. Now, some are invite only and others are way too expensive for my life experience. I wouldn't pay that much when it's my first one because I have no idea what I'm doing. But then I came across Jack's Beach Art Markets. When I looked into how to be a vendor, I realized I just needed to pay a $70 fee for a 10 by 10 space. So I did. And the market is June 7th. And it's currently May 3rd. And I have nothing. Obviously, you should take market prep seriously, especially when it comes to your personal finances. I may have bought that $70 spot on a whim in speckles of a dream, but I knew I could afford it because I already keep a tight grip on my finances. I mean, seriously, I have a finance goal right here on my wall. While budgeting to figure out what I can afford to spend on supplies, I checked my credit card rewards out of curiosity and found out that I actually had $283 in rewards. Apparently, my 1% cash back added up without me realizing, so I guess I have $283 to spend on supplies. Woo! Before I buy anything though, I need to know what I plan to sell in the first place. I remember this tutorial for memo pads, and it turns out I already had a printer that can make quality prints, so I only needed a few more supplies. I also tried crocheting again. I made my own pattern for my character Mr. Pudgy, who's a teddy bear, and while that was rewarding, I am not confident he would sell in this state. So I found a community favorite cat loaf pattern and I gave it a try. I messed up an ear, but he's cute, so that's a win. After taking the time to look at more crochet patterns and things I could actually make, I could finally start listing out everything I needed. I wrote out my entire list and I got yarn in A+ colors and different hook sizes. I got felt, I got cute frames for cross stitch. I even got polymer clay in every shade of the rainbow in case I wanted to make polymer clay charms, because that is technically something I can do. At this point, I filled nearly 2 carts, but hey, it's all part of the plan. Michael's was having a sale and I got my teacher discount, so after totaling everything, I spent $287. And that's because I had to spend $6 on shipping for my memo pad paper, so basically, I nailed my budget. I don't know if you guys can tell, but my office is filled with all my classroom supplies for next year. So, to make my space work for me and to have room for everything I just bought, I took my 2 bookshelves that were collecting dust and I created a tiny studio. It may not be Pinterest perfect, but it works. It's now May 5th, so I have 31 days until the market, and I have nothing. I experimented with a bear glasses holder. That was a flop. I then tried to make a bear basket. That was awful. And every time I was trying to make it, I realized that the crochet just wouldn't lay flat. And then it dawned on me, why am I working against what the crochet is naturally doing? Let me use it to my advantage. So I started making a little bowl. And I was like, this is a little bowl. What could a little bowl be? A jewelry holder, a little trinket holder, a little holder for my little things. That can work. I made a bear, I made a cat, and I made a bunny. Bet. Making those gave me so much confidence. I also made these cute ducklings. I have a flower hat, which then inspired me to make little crows. I had the flower hat, which then inspired me to get my pocket frogs little flower hat. So basically, everything was going great. I grabbed a Cricut from Target for stickers and my memo pads, and all I needed to do was a few test prints. It wouldn't print. My printer, whose sole purpose is to print, did not print correctly for 2 days straight. I didn't even film it. I was spiraling. I cleaned it, I reset it, I prayed to the ink gods, nothing worked until I put it on the floor. Are you kidding me? I filmed such a nice video of me clearing a space on my desk only for my printer to only work on the floor. So that's where it lives now. I'm not touching it ever again. Aside the printer incident, the memo pads are pretty satisfying to make, except the ones where I can only fit one per page. I heavily debated giving up on making memo pads, period, until I was making some simple business cards and realized I can fit 10 business cards on one page. AKA, I could fit 10 memo cards on one page. AKA, I could use 3 pages instead of 30 per memo pad. So yes, I made tiny memo pads just for planners, super tiny, easy to glue in, and no one can stop me. I'm still making products, and I know I will be until literally the day before the market. It's currently May 18th when you're seeing this video, so I have 19 days until my first ever art market, which is insane because I just realized that I am preparing for this art market as a 23-year-old, and when the art market is happening, I'll be 24. My birthday's June 2nd, and the art market's June 7th. 3 weeks ago, I had nothing, and now I have a purple tent, I have a 6-foot table, and I have a market display using random things I found around my house. I will continue to prep for my first ever art market, and I'm so excited. And I hope in the next vlog, future me is having an amazing time. And I hope that you're there with me. Until then, bye-bye.